Nutmegs, it's Jody B back with another video. If you're new here, I'm a registered dietitian and nutritionist, and the whole premise of this channel is to make nutrition easy, to give nutrition education. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Today we're going to be making some Jamaican beef patties, but not your traditional Jamaican beef patties. So today we're doing an experiment. So we're gonna see how this goes. You'll let me know if this is something that you're trying, but I think we're gonna be good. I think this is gonna turn out really, really good. So this recipe is going to be the same great taste as the original recipe or an original Jamaican patty, but with half the calories. Why is it half the calories? Because we're not using a traditional dough. Traditional dough has a lot of butter to make it really, really flaky. We're using a phyllo dough. Phyllo dough are layers of dough, thin layers of dough that are stacked on top of each other with a little fat in between that you control. You put the fat, and that makes it really, really flaky. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. We're gonna be doing a lighter version of a Jamaican patty. So anyway, let's get into the cooking. Okay, so let's talk about the ingredients. Here I have about 2 1/4 pounds of lean ground beef. Make sure you get lean. I'm only gonna use about half of this. So you need about 1 pound of lean ground beef. Then I have here some minced garlic. You can use fresh, of course, that just takes more time. Some ground allspice. Half of a yellow onion, some scallion or green onions, some thyme, and then some crushed ginger. And then of course we're gonna season with pepper and salt and garlic powder, but we'll get into that when we start cooking. So go ahead and heat a pan on the stove, medium-high heat, and then we're going to add some oil. I'm using olive oil here, and you're going for about 1.5 tablespoons of oil, not too much. Okay, so in goes the ground beef. And I'm going to use a potato masher. I just find this is the easier way to get it all pressed out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put my seasonings in before this cooks all the way. So here I have 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, and then 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. So I'm gonna put this all in here. Just season that meat. And just keep mashing it out. As soon as you have it mashed out, you can go ahead and just use a regular spatula and just keep stirring it around. I'm gonna go ahead and add my onions in. This is half of an onion that I just diced very finely. Gonna put that down. And then I'm going to put my garlic. And this is 1/2 tablespoon of garlic. Just going to go ahead and stir that in. It's already smelling really good. Stir that in. And then we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. Just let this cook a little bit. The onions are going to soften really nicely. I can smell that allspice. This is going to be really, really good. I can already tell. with some scallion or green onion. I just used one with 3 stalks on it. Put that in. Some thyme. This is about a teaspoon of thyme, fresh thyme. And then I have some fresh, not well fresh, but frozen ginger, and this is about 2 thumbs of ginger. Half of a scotch bonnet pepper, diced up finely. And get the rest of these seasonings out of this little thing. So it's going to be a little spicy, but not too much. So here we have it. It's almost done, and this literally takes about 15 minutes to be done. As you go on, you want to taste it. However, you do not want to rely on a lot of salt or heavy seasonings. You really want to take advantage of, you know, the garlic and the ginger and the thyme and the scallion, the fresh seasonings. That's what you really want to rely on to make this pop and taste really, really good. So if you need to add more of those things, then you go ahead. Try to add salt last. You don't want this to be overly salty, and you don't want to send your blood pressure up. So at the end here, the last thing I'm going to add is a 1/4 cup of panko breadcrumbs, plain panko breadcrumbs. And what this is going to do is going to soak up some of that liquid, because we don't want this to be wet, but it will also make it very moist and give it that texture that Jamaican patties have in the middle, where it's a little bit pasty but not too much. It's moist and not too wet. So that's what the breadcrumbs is going to do here. It's going to make it nice and formed, is what you could say. And then you just want to toss that in, and that's it. This is cooked. So this is the filling, and then now we'll go ahead and assemble. We're gonna have this cool off and then get to work. Okay, so here we have the dough. It comes in a roll like this, and it's many sheets. This is about 20 sheets, I think. So we're gonna unroll it. And it's very delicate. It's very thin slices of dough. I'll just take one out here so you can see how thin it is. And these dry up very quickly, so you want to be very careful. This is how thin this dough is. So I'm using this size pan. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut it in half. So I'm just gonna put the cover here, so I'm not putting it directly on top of it, just to measure and putting it here. So I'm going to cut it in half, and then half is going to go on top and then half on the bottom. So I put it here so you can see, and we're just going to cut against the bowl. So then we have this here. So I really want these patties to have the color of traditional Jamaican patties, even though it's not a traditional recipe. So what I'm going to do here is I'm putting some oil in a hot pan, and we're going to burn some curry. We're going to burn some curry and some turmeric, get that bitterness out, and we're going to use that to add into our milk mixture so that we're going to get that nice color of the patties. So I'm doing 1 teaspoon of curry powder, and you can use whatever curry powder you like. And this is also going to give it some of that good flavor. So 1 teaspoon of curry powder and half a teaspoon of that turmeric. And we're just burning this. We call it burn, but you're not literally burning it. It's just trying to get off that bitterness out of the curry. So we're gonna get that nice yellow, amber, whatever you want to call it, that nice color that Jamaican patties have. And you just have to cook this for about a minute. Then we're gonna allow it to cool and we're gonna add it to our milk mixture. So I have 2/3 of a cup of milk. This is unsweetened almond milk. And then I'm gonna add 1 large egg right in here. And then we're gonna just mix that. And then we're going to add it to our curry and turmeric seasoning mixture. And as I said, that part is completely optional. You don't have to add the turmeric and curry powder, but I just like that it's gonna give it that nice color. But you do need this milk mixture with the egg. That's gonna bring everything together. Okay, so let's assemble. I have my pan here. I have a little bowl with just some melted butter. You can use oil or any type of fat. Remember, the phyllo dough does not have any fat, so we're gonna need some type of fat to get it to stick together. So let's get started. So I'm going to, first let me put a little bit in the bottom so that it doesn't stick too much. And then I'm going to put 1 sheet, and then I'm going to do another sheet. So you're just going to put that down. You want to put your fat in. And at this point, you can go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's 1. 2, and you're just going to keep going. Press out any air bubbles. Of course, you want to make sure your hands are clean when you're doing this. And then just keep going with the butter and the dough. And then that was 10. So we're gonna go ahead and put our ground beef mixture. And then see here how it's not too wet, but it's still, you can see it's still moist. So we're just gonna put that straight in. And then I don't think I'm gonna use all of this because you want it to be nice and flat, not too much. So I'll probably use this and put it with some pasta or something, repurpose. Don't waste anything, right? So I think that's good. So safe to say you can probably use ½ pound of ground beef if you're using a smaller container like I am, or a smaller pan rather. And then we're just going to repeat the process. So we're going to put down 1 sheet. And these are getting a little dry, I can tell. So they're ripping apart. But we're just going to keep going. So I'm going to put down 1 sheet. And then we're going to put our fat and keep going. So we're going to, it's 10 on the bottom, 10 on top. And then I'm just gonna rip a little bit of this to put on the side here. And that's the great thing about this dough, it's really not that serious. You can kind of shift ripping pieces apart and making it all fit together. Okay, so we've gotten to the last one, guys. And this one is a little shabby, but it's okay. These dry up so quickly, so you have to really work fast. But it's okay because we're re-moistening it with the oil or butter if you choose to use. So this is the last one. I'm just going to top it. Make sure we get those sides. So before we add our milk mixture, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this. The reason I'm gonna cut this now before we bake it, because it's going to be way too flaky to cut it. So I think I'm just gonna cut it here. In half. And then I'm gonna cut the... So here we have it in 6 pieces. Then we're gonna add our milk mixture now. So here we have that curry mixture that we had where we burned the curry a little bit just to get the bitterness out. I'm gonna go ahead and add my milk and egg. And we're just gonna stir that up. You see we're getting that nice color that we're looking for. Golden brown. Try to get it off the bottom there, that curry. So then now we're gonna pour it over that mixture. You just wanna tilt it, make sure it goes into every crevice. If you wanna help it a little bit and just put the knife through. Make sure it can get through to all inside. So it goes all the way down to the bottom, not just on the top, right? So that's what we're looking like. We're gonna go ahead and bake this at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So this is what it looks like out of the oven. It smells amazing. Has a nice golden color that we were looking for. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see. So now let's taste it. So I'm gonna serve myself a middle piece and hear how crispy. Ooh. And it's a good thing we did the cutting before we baked it, because I can tell that would have been a mess. All right. Okay, so let's try it. Ooh. This is really good. I don't know if I'm gonna share this with you. Wow. This tastes really amazing. The beef is well seasoned. You taste allspice, you taste the ginger, the garlic, the onions. It's nice and flaky. Wow. I can't even talk to you. It's so good. I just want to keep eating. I really hope you try this recipe. Subscribe if you're new. Like this video. Share with a friend. Comment below and tell me if you would make this. Really simple, really easy, no dough kneading. See you later.